Hello and welcome to another episode of the Make More Placements podcast. Today we're going to be covering 5 things that me and Terry, or 5 things that we wish we knew about sooner about winning clients for your recruitment or search business. So 5 things that we wish we knew sooner about winning clients for your recruitment or search business. This episode is going to be good for you if you're a obviously recruitment or search business owner and you want to attract more clients into your business, right? So we've worked with hundreds of recruitment and search business owners over the years, built hundreds of campaigns for attracting clients into their business. There's a lot of things we've got right, but there's a lot of things we've got wrong as well, a lot of mistakes we've made along the way. I'm going to be sharing with you 5 of the things that we wish we realised sooner, and hopefully to stop you making some of the same mistakes. But before we sort of dive into the main episode, if you're watching this on in the Facebook group, in the Make More Placements Facebook community, give us a like and a comment. Let us know where you're listening in from. Again, that will help us know who's tuning in and also help us with the algorithm as well, help get this video out to more people. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe as well. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, make sure you subscribe and spread the message. So cool, let's dive right in. 5 things that I wish I knew sooner about winning clients for your recruitment or search business. So number 1, the first lesson, or first of the 5 things, is that all hiring managers really care about is themselves, their problems, and how to fix them. Terry, again, can you explain a bit more about what we mean by that?
Yeah, it can be tempting, especially, I know when I was new to recruitment, when you're reaching out to hiring managers and you tell them what your mission statement is, how long you've been in business, you start sentences with, can I introduce myself? Ultimately, at the end of the day, they really don't care. As a saying in marketing, what's in it for me? When you're communicating to potential clients, you should always remember that statement, what's in it for me? Because that's exactly what they're thinking. So if you start talking about yourselves, you've lost them completely. All they want to know is their problem and how to fix it. It's as simple as that. This is the problem that your hiring manager is having and how to fix it. It's a bit like if you've got a migraine. If anybody here suffers with migraine, I know it can knock you for 6, and you go to a website to find out, the best medication for migraines. Read about their mission statement, how long have they been in business, where their head office is, how many people they employ. You really couldn't care less. All you want is get rid of this pain right now. It's the same with the hiring manager. They just care about themselves.
100%. So back in the early days when we first started doing this, so I've been doing this, 10 years now. Terry, much longer, probably 20, 25 years. One of the mistakes that we made, even when I joined the business, is we used to talk a lot about, when we used to sort of build business development campaigns, we used to talk a lot about the recruitment process, right? And again, I see recruitment search personas making the same mistake today. As Terry mentioned, they're talking about how much experience they've got, how long they've been in recruitment, all things based on recruitment and the recruitment process. And what we realized, when we realized we started getting better results when we shifted from talking about recruitment to talking about the outcome that the hiring manager wants, right? And again, the outcome is going to vary depending on what sector you work in, what niche, what candidates you recruit for. But the more you talk about the outcome and their challenges, the better response you're going to get, right? One of the reasons that your marketing gets ignored right now is because you're talking about recruitment, right? Hiring managers don't really care about recruitment. They care about the outcome of having a recruiter. The more that you spend your time, your content, everything you put out into the marketplace, talking about and focusing on the outcome, the better response you'll get. Terry, anything you want to add to that before we move on to number 2?
Yeah, just very quickly give you a couple of examples. So my background, I did executive search as a recruiter within the IT sector, predominantly within retail IT. So I was reaching out to IT directors and CTOs on a regular basis. Their challenge, their problem was getting IT projects delivered on time and to budget to give them that competitive edge over other retailers. So my communication needed to be about ensuring that their projects are delivered on time and to budget. Now, it's having the right team in place. That's one of the factors is going to be ensuring that you have the right team in place. So that's one example as an IT recruiter. One of our clients, Paul, he works within SaaS sales, and he talks about ensuring that achieve their targets and add profits and adding to the bottom line, because ultimately that's what the business wants. They want to achieve their targets, the financial targets, and they want to add to the bottom line. They don't want a sales professional. They want that solution, they want that outcome is what they actually want. In Paul's case, because he provides top-class sales professionals, he talks about the outcome they're going to get rather than, I've been in business for 20 years and I've got loads of salespeople that can come and work for you. That's not what they want. And you'll get their attention, by the way, if you talk about the problems that they're encountering right now and how you've got a solution to that problem.
100%. 100%. So number one is all hiring managers really care about is themselves, their problems, how to fix them. Number two, second thing we wish we knew sooner is that most of your business development activities are a waste of time and get completely ignored. So most business development activities that are carried out even today by recruitment and search business owners are a complete waste of time and get completely ignored. Terry, again, can you explain what we mean by that and why that's an important lesson to learn?
I remember talking to a lady based in New York, and she said, I'm reluctant to send out this email to 1,000 potential clients because I'm going to get swamped with business. She wasn't, and it was never going to happen. Most of your marketing is ignored most of the time. That's a fact. You send out 1,000 emails, hell, you'd be lucky if you get 30% of the recipients to actually open that email.
Yeah.
So you've got to acknowledge that most of the time it's a waste of time. So what you've got to be doing is constantly testing which is the best method. So I was talking to a recruiter a bit earlier today. He said the only way that it gets business is from marketing candidates. I said, is that working? He says, well, in the last 6 months, he's won one new client. He needs to look at those numbers, because if for the last 6 months he's been marketing the candidates and he's picked up one new client, there's undoubtedly room for improvement there.
Yeah.
And the way to measure it is this: how many inquiries you're getting, how many potential clients are raising their hand and indicating they have some interest in what you're doing, how many sales meetings you're getting. Again, we've got some of our clients are getting 30, 40, 50 sales meetings a month, every single month. I talk to recruitment and search business owners every day of the week. On average, they're getting 3 or 4 a month. Think about that for a minute, because what we know is the more sales meetings you have with potential hiring managers, the more business you're going to get. So if our clients are getting 40 or 50 and you're only getting 4 or 5, the only reason they're getting more business is not because they're a better recruiter than you, but they're increasing their odds substantially by having more meetings. But they acknowledge that more people are going to say no to them, they're going to say yes to them. And that's absolutely fine. Because most of the time, it doesn't work. And also your sales. How many sales are you getting? How many new clients are you winning? How many job orders? How many retained pieces of the business you're winning? If you're not measuring any of this, by the way, you're building your business on quicksand, quite frankly. You've got to be measuring and know these numbers. The moment you know these numbers, it's going to stand you in good stead. So that's what we mean by most business development activities are a waste of time. And we all say this, don't take our word for it. Test it and see for yourself. Test methods and see how they work. Drew, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I agree 100% everything you said. I think a couple of things to add though would be that one of the things you can take away from this is that because most of the business development activity you're doing right now are getting ignored and are a complete waste of time, probably going to take a lot more volume, a lot more output to get the results you want, right? So if you're not attracting the clients you want right now in your business, you probably need to put a lot more volume in just so your marketing gets seen, right? Just so anything you do gets seen. Like it could be calls get answered, emails get read, whatever. You just probably have to do a lot more volume to get the traction you want. Is one of the first things I learned. The other thing was as well that previously, and again, we still see it now, was that recruiters are engaged in a lot of activities that they think is business development, they think is marketing. This could be anything from cold calls, NPCs, social media posts. Sometimes even they've outsourced this service. They paid someone to help them with their marketing, but it's not getting the results they want, right? So when it comes to your business development, again, Terry sort of touched on this, but there's 3 sort of key things you should measure. And if you're not getting an increase in one of these 3 areas, then probably the business development you're doing isn't working, right? So question number 1 is, has this activity, does it lead to an increase in inbound leads, right? Am I getting more inquiries, more interest from my prospects when I do this activity, whatever it happens to be? Secondly, is it generating me more sales meetings, right? Am I getting more opportunities to pitch my services to hiring managers in my market, right? Does this activity lead to me pitching my services more? Again, I see a lot of recruiters doing a lot of sort of business development activities, but when you look month to month, there's no real increase in the number of sales meetings they have. If there's not an increase in sales meetings, there's obviously not going to be an increase in sales, right? So it's a pointless activity. Or you need to tweak the activity so it gets better results. And lastly, again, Terry touched on this. Has it increased the number of sales that I'm making each month, right? If it's not increasing or giving you a lift in one of those 3 areas, then it's probably something you need to cut back on or tweak to make sure it's working better. We wasted a lot of time in sort of needless marketing activities that we thought, were good for branding. Again, it's not to say that not all of them were waste of time, but a lot of them, we just realized they weren't getting an increase in any of those 3 areas. Terry, does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. And just to remind everybody that these podcasts are sponsored by PlacementBox.io. It's an all-in-one software packed full of purpose-built client attraction tools ready to plug and play into your business so you can start attracting more clients the day you start using it. So if you want to have a look at it, go to placementbox.io/MMP. So that's placementbox.io/M, that's for M for mother, P, and you can try it out for free for 30 days. Yeah, go and have a look at it. It's an all-in-one process for generating more leads and helping you make more placements and earn more money. Back to you,
Perfect.
Drew.
So number three, the third thing we wish we knew sooner is that when it comes to business development, marketing, or getting clients into your business, opinions don't count, only results matter, right? Opinions don't count, only results matter. And what we mean by this is, one thing that again, we still hear it today, is that you'll see a particular campaign or marketing activity that someone else is doing, or someone else has advised you to do, or someone else has said, this was working really well for me. And the immediate sort of thing that comes into your head is that, that won't work in my market. My clients are different, they're more sophisticated, or they're less sophisticated, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, that won't work in my market, or that works in your sector, it doesn't work in my sector, or that works in your business, but my business is different because X, Y, Z, right? There's always people, again, including us, right? There's always people that have got opinions on different methods, different platforms, different routes to market, different ways to generating business, right? Everyone's got opinions, right? And again, we used to have lots of opinions. And again, we still do. But, the more you do this, the sooner you realize that opinions don't really matter, right? It doesn't matter what you think or feel about a particular method or particular path or particular route or particular platform. The only thing that matters is results. This sort of links back to the other thing we said is that you need to be continuously testing, right? If someone gives you advice, rather than dismissing it straight away without any substance, test it and see what the results say. If the results tell you that it doesn't work, then fine, it doesn't work. You know for sure. But if the results tell you it do, then obviously they do work. Then obviously you've got a new method for attracting clients, right? But opinions don't count. Only results matter. Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it reminds me, who I'm talking about here, Drew. We were working with a search firm who work in the financial sector. And one of the things that we encouraged them to do was to test Facebook for marketing. And their response was, Terry, we're recruiting at salaries of 200,000, 300,000. Our audience aren't on there. And here's a question worth asking when people say that is, that's your opinion based on what? Because when you ask that question, people go, I just don't think that my audience is on there. And I always say this, my opinion doesn't matter, but neither does yours. Test it, and let's base your opinions on the results of some tests. So you go, actually, I tried Facebook as an example, and this is the results I got, rather than I just don't think it's going to work. As it turned out, it's their biggest, their main method now for generating leads is Facebook as one example. But we hear this all the time. Yeah, but my market's different. Yeah, but I don't think or feel that my clients would like that type of approach. You have no idea unless you test it and you've measured the results. And I get you have an opinion, but it counts for nothing. Because what I can give you a cast iron guarantee on, your competitors who decide to put their opinion to one side and test it for themselves are in a much better position than you are, because then their opinion is based on the results of their tests rather than, I don't think it's going to work. I can't emphasize enough, and put this into context. We probably hear this every day when we're talking to recruitment business owners, and when they say things like, yeah, but that won't work in my market, Terry. My market is different. I don't think my clients will like that. I had one lady say to me, marketing doesn't work for recruiters, full stop. You couldn't make that up, but she actually believes that marketing doesn't work. And the only way to get business was to cold call, which, by the way, is a form of marketing, but that's a whole conversation. Test it and base your opinion on the results of your tests rather than your personal opinion.
Awesome, perfect. So let's move on to number 4. The fourth thing we wish to realize sooner when it comes to attracting clients into your recruitment or search business is that inconsistent activities produce inconsistent revenues or inconsistent results, right? So inconsistent activities produce inconsistent revenues. Again, this is something we've spoken about before in other episodes many times, because it's a big problem in this industry where a lot of recruiters struggle from a feast and famine revenue numbers, right? Where months they're doing really well, they've got the revenue there, everything's working, and then the next month they're sort of famine and the revenue's not there. And usually the reason this happens is self-inflicted due to their business development activities, right? Because again, a common theme is that they have a business development activity, whether it's cold calling, NBC, it doesn't really matter what it is that works. It works for them. It brings them clients in. They do the activity when they've got their business in. They do the activities. They hit the phones like crazy. They do send more emails. They do more of whatever the activity is to get them the results. They get the results in, which means they've now got more assignments to work on. They've got job orders, which means that all their time then shifts to delivery, and they're spending all the time on delivery. They fill the assignments. Or sometimes don't fill the assignments, but because they've now because all their time's been spent on delivery and they're doing less business development, their pipeline dries up, right? And then they're sort of they to and fro from these two sort of states where they're doing BD like crazy, doing delivery like crazy, and it sort of causes this up and down yo-yo effect in the revenue streams, right? So what you want to do as soon as possible is find a method that works or methods that work, and systemize them either with automation or with employees, but make sure they're working consistently. So when you're busy, when you're delivering, when you're on a holiday, when you're out the office over Christmas, whatever it is, these are always ongoing in your business, right? When this development becomes consistent, so does the revenue numbers. Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, there isn't much more you can add, is there, really? And every day of the week we speak to recruitment and search business owners who say, yeah, the first quarter, the first 6 months were actually great, and we were working on loads of roles, and we were filling those roles. We didn't have time to do the business development. As a consequence, at the end of that quarter, at the end of the first 6 months or whatever, once they've filled all the roles, they kind of look around and all they can see is tumbleweed. They've got absolutely nothing to work on. So what do? They put the foot down the accelerator and start doing some business development. And guess what? They get some results. So now they're busy again. So they take the foot off the accelerator of business development. And of course, we've got this found and feast, and they just don't learn. How would it be for you if you said that whatever is going on in my business, we will always be consistent with our business development activities? Because what we know is if we do that, we're going to have consistent revenue. We're not going to have this famine and feast. And there's a number of reasons. People say they're too busy. I think the other one as well is that we can sometimes talk to recruitment and search business owners, and they kind of put it bluntly, they're doing really well, and they think that they believe in their own bullshit. They think they're the greatest recruiter in the world, and it's going to be like this forever. It never ever is. But they've got caught up in their own BS. What we find with the top performers, when they're doing exceptionally well, they're still doing the business development, and when things aren't going so well, they're still doing it, and they don't get caught up in their own BS about how great they are. They simply acknowledge that to get to where they want to get to, they've got to be consistent in their activities. To repeat, inconsistent activities produce inconsistent results. It's as simple as that. And as Drew said, it's the main cause of famine and feast. And just to remind you again, this podcast is sponsored by Placement.io. It's an all-in-one recruiter suite. And it's for recruiters who want to win clients, who want to work less with less hassle. It's an all-in-one software package, purpose-built for client attraction. It's got tools ready to plug in and play in your business so you can start attracting more clients the day you start using it. And you can get hold of it for free if you go to placementbox.io/MMP. And you can try it for 30 days at no cost, no obligation. So that's placementbox.io/MMP. And try it for 30 days, no cost, no obligation. Back to you, Drew, for number 5.
Awesome. So that brings us on to number 5, which is your ability to attract clients is a priority over everything else in your business, right? So your ability to bring new clients into your business is priority over everything else. Terry, again, can you explain a bit more what we mean by that? Why it's important, why it's something we wish we realised sooner.
Yeah, your ability to attract quality clients is the lifeblood of your business. If you can't attract quality clients on demand, quite frankly, you haven't got a business. It's got nothing to do with your fee and how expensive you are, how cheap you are, or the size of your database. It hasn't got anything to do with your experience. I know some very experienced recruiters with low fees, a very large database, who right now are broke and got no business because they don't know how to attract clients. It's the one skill above all else. We say this all the time. It's the lifeblood of your business. If you can't attract clients and candidates, come to that, you've got a major problem. And it's the number one skill that you need to have a highly successful recruitment business. And you can argue and say, well, I use my network and referrals. And what we know about networks and referrals, they're great, by the way, and you should be using them. But invariably, they always dry up. They always do. I probably get a phone call or an email every other day from a recruiter that says, we had a great year last year, but things have just dried up. My network's dried up, or our 2 main clients that we're working with, they've got a recruitment freeze now. See, those businesses, if they acknowledged that the ability to attract quality clients was a priority above all else, they would always be looking to attract quality clients on a regular and consistent basis. And they would, so when they have that situation where their main clients put the recruitment on freeze, they're like, no worries, when you're ready to come back to us, let us know. We've got a ton of other leads here and business coming in, so it's not the end of the world for us. Majority of recruitment and search business owners we speak to just don't do that. Don't neglect it. Make it a priority. It's the number one skill that makes all the other skills so relevant. What would you add to that, Drew?
Main thing for me is that, that last thing you said, don't neglect it, prioritize it, right? Make it a priority in your business, I think. And again, something I wish I realized sooner in my business, right? It's so tempting when you get, when you win business, especially to focus on delivery or to, focus on the day to day and not really think about, what am I doing to bring new clients in? I think, like you said, Terry, without the ability to bring clients into your business, every other skill you have, delivery, finding candidates, all of it becomes irrelevant, right? This is the lifeblood of your business. I think a lot of recruiters, they sort of have it as with business development, it's almost an afterthought, right? You speak to a lot of recruiters, they don't enjoy it. They haven't yet found a way to enjoy it, right? Again, if you're not enjoying it right now, it's because you haven't found a process that is enjoyable for you, right? We've got lots of recruiters in our program that learn to enjoy business development because they find a process that they enjoy. So they don't enjoy it, therefore they neglect it, they put it last. They know they have to do it. There's not a recruiter that doesn't think it's important and know they have to do it. Like, you speak to many recruiters, they'll say, I need more clients, or that's the one area of business I struggle the most. There's very few that actually prioritize it, though. And I think if one thing for you to take away from this podcast is, what am I doing right now, today, tomorrow, every day of the week to prioritize my client attraction ability? What new methods am I trying out? What platform am I testing? How am I educating myself to get better at this skill? I think the better you can get at that in your business, the more successful you'll be overall. Again, just to remind you, if you want help with any of what we've covered today, if you go to makemoreplacements.com/clients now, there's a short video there of Terry speaking. It explains a bit more about our services, how we work, and if you're interested, you can book a call to speak with one of us to see if it makes sense for us to work together, helping you attract more clients into your business. That's makemoreplacements.com/clients now. Again, remember to like, subscribe, share this episode with anyone who you think it will find it useful. Again, we obviously do this podcast for free. We want to get this message out to as many recruiters, recruitment business owners as possible. So if you know anybody who you think they're in recruitment and you think they might find this useful, remember to share this with them as well. Terry, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, that's great, Drew. Just to remind you about the free software that we talked about. You can go to placementbox.io MMP. You can try it out for free, and they're the sponsors of this podcast. So that's placementbox.io/MMP. You can try it out for free for 30 days and see how you can attract more clients, make more placements, increase your personal earnings with this unique all-in-one software package that's purpose-built for recruitment and search business owners. Thank you very much for today, Drew. Really appreciate it. We'll be back for the next podcast. Until next time, take care, take action, be relentless.